Imagine two people, same city, same salary, same job title. One of them has $80,000 sitting in savings, the other one negative balance, overdue bills, a credit card that's already maxed out. Now here's the part that should confuse you. The person with negative balance just bought new AirPods, ordered food delivery 4 times this week, and is already planning a weekend trip they definitely cannot afford. You'd think, that's just stupidity, or maybe that's just poor discipline. But what if I told you it has almost nothing to do with discipline? What if the real reason people with zero money spend like they're rich is buried deep inside the way the human brain was literally wired? Thousands of years before banks, credit cards, or installment payments even existed? Because once you understand what's actually happening inside the mind of someone who's broke but still spending, you'll never look at your own money habits the same way again. Here's the story most people tell themselves. I'll start saving when I earn more. Once I get that raise, I'll finally get my finances under control. Right now, I deserve to enjoy life a little. The saving part comes later. Sound familiar? This is the story playing on repeat in the heads of millions of Americans. And the dangerous thing is, it sounds completely reasonable. It sounds mature, patient even. But here's what actually happens. The raise comes, the income goes up, and somehow the savings stay exactly the same, because the spending went up too. A slightly better apartment, a newer phone, more dining out, better clothes. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the oldest traps in personal finance. But lifestyle inflation alone doesn't fully explain why people with genuinely no money, not just less money, but zero money, still find ways to spend. For that, we need to go much deeper. Let's go back in time, not to your childhood, way further, like 50,000 years ago. Your ancestors lived in a world with no guarantees, no refrigerators, no monthly paycheck, no Amazon delivery. Food was unpredictable. Resources could disappear overnight. So the human brain developed a very specific survival strategy. Use what you have right now before it's gone. Hoarding resources for the future was risky. What if a predator attacked tonight? What if the tribe had to move? The future was uncertain. The present was real. And so our brains learned to prioritize immediate reward over future security. Fast forward to today, the world has completely changed. But your brain, it's still running that same ancient software. Psychologists call this present bias. It's the tendency to value things that are available right now much more highly than things that are available in the future. Here's a simple way to see it in action. If I offer you $100 today or $150 next month, most people choose the $100 today. Even though waiting just 4 weeks gives them 50% more money, the future reward feels abstract. The present one feels real. Now, apply this to spending. When you're standing in a store and you see something you want, your brain doesn't calculate next month's rent. It calculates right now. The pleasure is immediate. The cost, the real cost, feels distant and blurry. This is not a character flaw. This is biology. But here's where it gets even more interesting. There's another force at work here, and it's one that nobody talks about enough. It's called social identity spending. Here's how it works. Humans are tribal creatures. For most of our history, belonging to a group was the difference between survival and death. Being accepted, respected, and seen as valuable within a community was literally a matter of life or death. So our brains became obsessed with social status, with how other people perceive us. And in the modern world, one of the easiest and most visible ways to signal status is through what you own and how you spend. The car you drive, the phone in your hand, the restaurant you post on Instagram, the vacation you went on. These are all status signals. They tell the world. And more importantly, they tell you where you stand. Now, here's the cruel twist. When someone is struggling financially, their sense of self-worth often takes a hit. They feel invisible, left behind. And the easiest way to temporarily fix that feeling, spend. Buy something that makes them feel like they belong, like they're doing okay, like they're not as far behind as they actually are. This is why you see people with maxed out credit cards wearing $200 sneakers. This is why someone who can't pay their electricity bill still goes to that expensive birthday dinner. The spending isn't irrational, it's emotional, it's self-protection. There's even a term for this in psychology: compensatory consumption. People compensate for feelings of financial inadequacy by purchasing things that restore their sense of status and belonging. And the worst part? It works. Temporarily. For about 48 hours, maybe a week, the new purchase makes you feel better. Then reality comes back. The balance is still zero, the bills are still there, and the cycle starts again. Let me add one more layer to this, because this one is sneaky. Have you ever told yourself, I'll just put this on the card and pay it off next month? Or, I got a bonus this month, so I deserve to treat myself? Or even, it's on sale, so I'm actually saving money by buying it? This is something called mental accounting, a concept developed by Nobel Prize-winning economist Richard Thaler. Mental accounting is when we treat money differently based on where it came from or what mental bucket we put it in. Even though money is money, $50 from your paycheck and $50 you found on the street are the same $50, but they don't feel the same. Money that feels like a bonus or a windfall feels easier to spend. Money that's already mentally assigned to something feels off limits, and money on a credit card doesn't feel like real money at all, which is precisely why credit cards are so dangerous. When you swipe a card, there's no pain, no physical exchange, no watching the bills leave your hand. It's just a tap. And because it doesn't feel real, we spend more. Studies show people consistently spend between 15 and 30% more when paying by card compared to cash. So when someone is spending money they don't have, they're often not even thinking about the future debt. Their brain has categorized that card swipe as something abstract and distant. The pleasure is real. The consequence is theory. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because here's the real insight that most people miss. The gap between being broke and being wealthy is not primarily an income gap, it's a behavior gap. There are people earning $15,000 a month who are quietly broke, and there are people earning $3,500 a month who are steadily building real wealth. The difference isn't what they earn, it's what they do with it. And more importantly, it's why they do what they do. The people who build wealth over time have learned, either through hard lessons or good mentorship, to do something that goes completely against human instinct. They've learned to delay gratification, to make the future feel real, to treat their future self like a real person who deserves protection and resources. Here's a powerful way to think about it. Every time you spend money impulsively, you're essentially stealing from your future self. Your future self. The one who needs an emergency fund, who wants to retire with dignity, who wants financial freedom. That person has no voice in the conversation. They can't speak up. They can't stop you. They can only inherit the consequences of what you decide today. And every time you save or invest, you're sending a gift forward in time to someone who will genuinely thank you for it. The wealthy don't have more willpower. They've just built systems that make the right behavior easier and the wrong behavior harder. Automatic transfers to savings accounts. Investments that are locked in. Budgets that treat savings like a non-negotiable bill. They've essentially tricked their own present-biased brains into building a future. So what do you actually do with all of this? First, stop blaming yourself for being wired this way. Present bias, social identity spending, mental accounting. These are not moral failures. They are predictable psychological patterns, and predictable patterns can be worked with. Second, make saving automatic and invisible. The most effective saving strategy is one that removes the decision entirely. If the money moves to savings before you see it, your brain doesn't experience it as a loss. It just becomes the new normal. Third, create a pause rule for non-essential purchases. Before buying anything above a set amount, let's say $50, wait 48 hours. This short circuit breaks the immediate gratification loop and gives your logical brain a chance to catch up. Fourth, get honest about what your spending is actually compensating for. If you're buying things to feel better about your financial situation, the purchase is not solving the problem. It is deepening it. The discomfort you feel when you look at your bank balance is information. Don't shop your way out of it. And fifth, make your future self feel real. Write out what you want your life to look like in 10 years. Give your future self a name if you have to. Seriously, the more concrete and vivid your future feels, the harder it becomes to steal from them today. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. Most people look at someone who's broke but spending and think they just don't care about money. But the truth is often the opposite. They care deeply. They feel the weight of it every single day. They're just using the only tool that makes the weight feel lighter for a moment, even if that tool's making everything worse. The path out is not discipline through shame. It's understanding. Understanding why your brain does what it does. Understanding the invisible forces that shape every financial decision you make. And then, deliberately and patiently, Building new habits that work with your psychology instead of against it. Because the most expensive thing you will ever buy is not a car, a house, or a vacation. It's the version of yourself that never learned how money actually works. And the cheapest investment you'll ever make? Understanding it now while you still have time to change.